Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Rush Racing Division 2 race. I am your host, Dynasty Sparrow, and I'm with a man it's probably about 4 a.m. for him or 3 a.m. Rekus, how are you going, mate?
I am doing pretty good, Dynasty, and you're actually pretty close. It's smack dab right in the middle. It is 3:30 a.m. here in Maryland, where I'm currently at the moment. But yeah, we have a full distance Portimao coming up. A track that very heavily depends on strategy, but yeah, I can't wait to see how much chaos is going to happen here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now we have a 100% race here and also a one-shot qualifying. And I know coming into the race, turn one is pretty much where majority of people will invalidate if they do invalidate, as unfortunately you get that wrong, you are in the bin straight away. But we will move on to the race and the qualifying because I hate to say we have a wet qualifying.
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so actually, pretty good knowledge was I've done 4 or 5 practices, and out of those 4 and 5 practices, 4 of those have been raining. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's just going to be a raining qualifying or a raining race as well, because that will change a lot of strategies up. Because Div 4 had dry all the way through, which was pretty boring in my opinion. Realistically, there wasn't much happening, but yeah, we're about to get underway, and I'll let you take away the qualifying.
All right, so who do we go on board with here?
I'm on with MJ Roller. He's leading as he falls right down the pack.
Yeah, so it's a one-shot qualifying, so things are quite a bit different here. So you basically just get one shot. Everybody goes at the same time, but there is no risk of impeding, and you can see those green-walled intermediate tires are currently on display. This track does have quite a bit of elevation changes. It's pretty similar to Barcelona, minus all the bugs that Barcelona happens to have. But so far, it's a pretty solid run right now. He is currently P8. Now you can make up positions if you survive the turn one, lap one shenanigans. But I mean, so far he's going through sector two right now, pretty solid. He's currently at a 50-second, but he's got one more corner to navigate before sector two is done and dusted. Oh, looks like he loses a little bit of time there, but it is a purple sector two from the McLaren man. He is up into P3 at the moment. He's only got a few more corners left to navigate, and I mean, it could be a very good second row start here for the McLaren driver. He's really only got two more corners left to go. So, oh, now he's up into fourth. We'll see what he can do across the line. Looks like he got a little slidey there on the exit of the final corner. He's just got to punch it across the line. It's good enough for P5 on track. And actually, I saw Yuki Bear was disqualified from the session.
Yeah, so he's obviously invalidated his lap, which is unfortunate, but it is a 100% race, so there's plenty of positions to be made, and hopefully we don't see a lot of dive bombs coming into lap 1, especially in a 66 lap race. But you've got Watanabe P1, Woodley P2, and Kachow P3. Aiden is Raiden P4, MJ Roller P5, The One Truth P6, Zenitsu P7, Dale Beveridge P8, Dragon P9, with Matif rounding out the top 10. Both Williams P11, P12, XD Lamb and Shifty Wizard, Haydo in P13, Boltsaru P14, Dante in P15, Winless Bench 16, Limitless Draco 17, and Yuki Bear unfortunately being the only one to DSQ down in 18th.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Yuki, but we know Yuki does have the pace. I mean, the Haas drivers in general seemingly just have this pace that just shows up out of thin air. And looks like we have a dry track, but like you mentioned, 66 laps around this track. So all that can change in a heartbeat. It's still looking very, very overcast here in Portugal. So I mean, anything can happen. But yeah, I think it's really going to be survival of the turn one tomfoolery
Yeah,
for at least lap one.
that's exactly right. It's going to be very interesting come turn one. Hopefully, everyone just takes it easy for the first lap. There's obviously no DRS, so it is a bit harder to overtake. The slipstream here and the DRS is a massive pull, so expect a lot of moves to be happening lap 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll probably start to see the grid start to expand depending on the tyre everyone chooses. But it'll be very interesting to see what strategy everyone runs.
Yeah, because I mean, ideally, like for a full distance race, you're obviously going to want to try to go for that two-stop strategy if you can. I mean, we've seen that in Division 4 that the medium tires could go an excessive length. So I'm sure you'll probably see a majority of the field start on mediums
And
as we see those 5 red lights coming on. And it's about to be lights out here in Portimao for the first full distance race this season. It is lights out and away we go. Good luck there for Watanabe. He's got a really good pull onto the lead, and Kachao actually moves up position as it sits right now. And no turn one. Oh, never mind. I just had to say something. It looks
and
like the
that
hot
is,
turn around there is Yuki Bear. I
yep, that
believe
is
he
Yuki Bear
collided
around.
with
He's going
Ben.
again. We have end plate damage. There is a VSC already, and we're only lap 1.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate. So actually, the incident, the race directory is already full of incident reports. So One Truth collided with his teammate. Aiden is Raiden. Dragon collided with Zenitsu. Draco collided with Bench. And then One Truth also collided with Lamb. So I mean, it's like you mentioned, turn one is very tricky. So I mean, it's just inevitable.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. So you've got Watanabe leading, followed by Chow and Woodley, and Aiden is Raiden and MJ Roller running at the top 5. So there's 3 people on the softs, 2 people on the mediums. So it'd be interesting to see what strategy everyone chooses, as we're still under VSC. So no one wants to see a drive-through penalty here, because you do not
Yeah,
want to lose
Shifty does have.
this. You do not want to lose the slipstream here. And yeah, Shifty's got the 10-second penalty already. Unfortunately, probably a glitch, I would say, as we see Drag. No, that's sorry. That was the One Truth, Boltaru, and Dante. Dragon gets a drive through penalty as well, so he will have to serve that in the next couple laps, I would say.
Yeah, and we're back racing. So I mean, a few of these drivers making a pit stop. So I mean, they must have watched Division 4 and saw how long those pit stops could go. Although granted, I'm pretty sure everybody that did pit did have some kind of wing damage. I mean, you're only required to make a minimum of 1 stop, and you need to only use 2 tire compounds. So I mean, theoretically, on the right tire compound, if everything plays right, then these drivers could probably go to the end on some of these tires. Although realistically, looking at Dante, he's probably the only one that could go to the end on that medium tire. But even then, he's got to be very gentle, like nursing a newborn child on those medium tires to get him to the end. And good luck with the softs.
Yeah, they can definitely push to the end, especially with these cooler track temperatures. You're probably only getting about 1 to 1.25% per lap. So I would expect him just to go the long distance and hope there is a safety car. But as it stands, there is gaps starting to form. So the top 3 have run away from Aiden is Raiden in 4th, who has lost out to the DRS of him. But will MJ Roller be able to pull in the gap to Kachao, Watanabe, and Woodley as it is
Yeah,
closing?
Kachow.
Dragon is in the pits as well, serving that drive through.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, speeding under a VOC, yeah, it's pretty costly. I mean, the drive-through penalty almost borderline ruins your entire race unless a lot of just carnage happens in front of you. So, unfortunate there for the Mercedes. Mercedes not really having the best of starts here at this 66 lap race we have going on here, but I mean, it's 66 laps, so anything can happen. I mean, we saw how much chaos happened at turn one, lap one. So who's to say that we won't see chaos later on throughout this massive race?
Yeah, it'd be really interesting come the end of this race, and I'm not sure that's limitless actually as well with right end plate damage. So he'll when he'll pit, he'll probably get that fixed because it is you'll be losing a lot of time, especially with that damage. So either expect him to lose the DRS to Lamb or to be pitting earlier than expected to fix that wing as we have the change of the lead. Watanabe and Kachao just swapping spots. Woodley in P3. MJ Roller able to catch up to the top 3, sorry. With Matif currently 1.5 behind, with Aiden's Raiden following close behind. Dale Beveridge up to P7. Zenitsu in P8 and Shifty Wizard, unfortunately, with that 10-second. I think it'll make him serve it when he pits, so that will be very hurtful for his race as he looks to make the move. No, he does not. He stays behind the Ferrari, and you got Hato following Shifty Wizard around in P10.
Yeah, I mean, strategy is going to play a massive part of this race, and it's also going to be keeping your nose clean. Something I noticed is that both of the Haas's, both Yuki Bear and Hato, are both missing end plates on their own machines. So they're going to lose a bit of downforce there in the corner. So it's going to be a bit tricky for them to kind of maintain that DRS range with the car in front. Yuki Bear's already lost his DRS benefit to winless bench, the current reserve in Aston Martin right now in P13. But I mean, Hato, I mean, he's keeping up to Shifty. He doesn't have to make any massive moves because right now Shifty does have a penalty. Although maybe if it is a glitch, it might be able to get removed because it was a pretty interesting penalty. It was for overtaking under VSC, or I think it was overtaking and getting
Gaining one spot in
an
corner
advantage.
cutting.
Yeah, corner cutting. Yep, there it is.
So I don't know
So
if it will
very
be
interesting.
served though. I don't know if you have to serve it. Yuki Bear is actually in the box. So he potentially has damage to his car. He did get spun into Sector 1 lap 1, so we'll wait to see if he will put a new wing on his car. It looks like they are holding a wing in front. They are not holding a wing. So he hasn't clicked to fix that wing, so that's very interesting. That will drop him a couple of spots. Dragon is in the box. Swapping to the mediums, potentially going to the end now. It is a long distance though.
Yeah, I mean, we know those medium tires have done some serious work in Division 4, but I mean, Division 2 it's going to be different. It's going to be a different kind of beast. But I'm actually seeing in chat that apparently, according to Edge, Lamb is cooked. He's got side pod damage, he's got rear damage, and floor damage. I'm not seeing any of them from my perspective, but I mean, I'll take their word for it. If that is the case, then Lamb is in some serious trouble here tonight.
Yeah, he's still in the points though. He just needs to keep it clean, keep it tidy. I know it's probably his car's probably hurting through the corners. As we see a bit of side by side with Kachau and Watanabe. Watanabe closes the door on Kachau. But this top four have absolutely run away, exactly the same as what before happened. Unfortunately here, as soon as you lose a DRS and if the front pack are working together correctly, you'll see big gaps start to form.
Yeah, especially just because, I mean, this track, it doesn't really have the best overtaking spots. And like you mentioned, that slipstream is everything on this track. So, I mean, yeah, it's not surprising to see these top four just kind of walk away into the sunset or the lack thereof because of the cloudy weather conditions. But, I mean, so far, I mean, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but I believe that 2 out of the 3 drivers in that top 3 are actually reserves. So that is extreme talent from these newcomers coming into a very competitive division like Division 2 and sticking in the podium spots on debut. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they certainly are.
As we see Cacao making a very good move.
Yeah, and before the DRS zone, so he's got DRS, but Watanabe doesn't, so he will get past, but Woodley looks like he'll take them both, potentially, or he goes to none and he falls behind. So they are working together, so that gap will just keep increasing, especially when they don't fight the corners, even if it's 0.1 per lap, as we see XD Lamb and Limitless swapping positions, but they have dropped an extra 0.4 this lap to Hato.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive because Hato is still missing that front left end plate on his car. So, I mean, he's still keeping up really good with Shifty and Dale, and also Zenitsu in front of them. So, I mean, it's another 4 stack, another draw 4, if you will, of cars just kind of in this slipstream chain currently going on. So I think that's pretty much just how the rest of this race is going to be run. You're going to have those drivers that are in the slipstream. You'll probably see some changes throughout those positions, like we have seen with Kachau, Woodley, and Watanabe. But, I mean, still, it's pretty much just going to be DRS Central and Slipstream Central for this race here in Portimao tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and Hato in the Haas actually has left end plate damage, so if he can stay in this DRS, that would be good for him, but unfortunately, yeah, as soon as he loses a DRS, it'll be hard to catch up, especially with the damage. But Lamb is actually pulling that gap now. It's only 1.7. So they've managed to gain 0.7 this lap. But they are burning everything. So expect it to get it climb back up to 2 seconds. But this front pack is still keeping that 2.5 second gap to P5. And then it's Aiden is rated with Matif. And there's another 4.1 to Dale Beveridge with Zenetsu, Shifty, Heido, and soon to be potentially XD Lamb and Limitless with Winless Bench following close behind.
Yeah, the DRS trains are here aplenty in Portimao. I mean, it's a track that can provide good racing, but I mean, in these early stages of the race, you're likely not going to see any massive dive bombs, and you're going to see pretty much what we're currently seeing here. It's just drivers trying to maximize their tire life, because like you mentioned, this track is not necessarily a tire muncher. Like, it's a oddly similar cousin of Barcelona. We know that track can go through tires like, a 6-year-old going through a pack of gum. But still, it's pretty much just going to be a massive management game for the entirety of this race for a lot of these drivers, especially the drivers within that DRS train. They're going to want to stay in the train that they are currently in, but also trying to make sure their train reaches the train up ahead just to make it a massive, massive railway of cars with DRS.
Yeah, as you see, Zenetsu gets past Dale Beveridge, so he'll be looking to try and close that gap and try to not fight as hard heading into this next couple of sectors and see if they can gain to the cars in front. But the gaps are starting to minimise. So Lamb's currently down to 1.5. It's hanging around that mark. He just needs the front four people to battle, and he'll just drag the rest of them in. And unfortunately, the One Truth is 21 seconds behind. I believe he had damage lap 1, so he'd box, and same with Bolt Saru. Dragon has served his drive through plus boxed for those mediums, so I'd expect him to go to the end. Dante as well fixing that wing damage and probably going to the end as well on those medium tyres. But I will go over to penalties because the only ones with penalties is Shifty Wizard with the 10, what was under a safety car, corner cutting and gaining 1 spot, and also Dragon receiving a 3-second for corner cutting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to get penalties at such an early stage of the race. I mean, especially that drive-through penalty. That was just super unfortunate there for Dragon. But I mean, like you said, this massive, massive undercut that we're seeing here, might actually get him to the end of this race, like you mentioned. So he might even be able to call himself into the points here in that top 15 range, especially if any of these drivers has an accident or just collides with another driver to knock themselves out of this race, or if anything happens where a safety car is called back out.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. It's interesting. Hato sends a move on the Ferrari, so they're starting to battle. This will help Lamb and
Ooh,
Limitless. Hato does not get it done yet. He's still side by side, but the Ferrari holds his position and keeps P9.
looks like there might have been a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there between Zenitsu and Hato. Didn't seem to affect either one of them a lot, but I mean, Hato's getting very aggressive. And oh, that's a good amount of contact there between Hato and Zenitsu. The move is done, but that's kind of flirting on the edge of the rule book there.
Yeah, yeah, it's flirting with danger, that's for sure, because that's now brought XD Lamb even closer. As you see, the change for the top again, cleanly as always. But they've now increased that gap an extra second to With Matif. And that gap now has increased to almost 5 seconds to Dale Beveridge from Aiden is Raiden. So the gaps are definitely starting to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's the one thing you do not want to happen in any race, let alone a race on this track. It's just so hard to claw that gap back to get within DRS range. As we saw a little bit with Division 4, that top group just ran off in the distance and nobody could really catch them. Because the only way you're really going to keep up with the car ahead of you is if you're within that DRS range. Otherwise, good luck. Just because you're not going to have that raw speed to try to get that car in front. Unless the pace advantage is significantly strong
Yeah,
for one driver compared to another.
and Lamb has caught the DRS, so he just needs to hold on here in these next couple of sectors, and he'll have the DRS and pull along limitless and winless back into the race. So he just needs to keep within that second. I believe he'll drop out in this sector. He's out by a second now, so he needs to reach that second before the line. He'll be absolutely pushing the car to the limit, but he does not get. I don't know if he got that actually. I don't think he did.
We'll find
No,
out
he
in a
didn't.
second.
He just fell out. He just fell out.
Yep.
So
So now he's going to be under a lot of pressure from Draco right behind him. Draco surprisingly just did not have the amount of real estate needed to get that move done. So very
but they are
he's just putting
definitely
the waiting room.
are within a second. 0.6, 0.7. So there you have it. They're back in the DRS range.
Indeed, and I mean that's like we mentioned. Oh, a little bit of a snap there from XD Lamb coming out of that corner. That's really gonna put him in some hot water. I mean, Draco is gonna be fired up and wanting to make that position. Now seeing that XD Lamb has made that mistake, and I mean, I wonder if he does have damage. I wonder if that is being possibly communicated to Draco from his engineer. So that'll be an interesting topic of discussion.
Yeah, and we see there's the top two have now broken away from 3 and 4, so there's now a two-car train, and a two-car train. So, and then there's a bigger train down the bottom. There's about 7 cars, so but I wonder when everyone will box and what the strategies will be. Would it be a two-stop? Will it be a one-stop? Maybe a soft to mediums all the way to the end, or a medium to soft right at the end. We did see it work in Div 4, but it'd be interesting to see if we see it happen again in Div 2.
Yeah, and the one thing that's a pretty big difference between like either short quality or the one shot quality is that you don't burn through as many soft tires as you would for like what we do for the rest of the season. With the exception of obviously these full distance races and sprints with that full qualifying, you don't go through as many soft tires or even as many tires in general. So you're gonna have a few more tire options available, and it actually does increase the amount of strategy you could possibly have here at Portimao, and especially when strategy plays such a big part in how this race is ran, aside from the DRS trains, of course. It's gonna be really, really interesting, like you said, to see when these pit stops are gonna happen.
Yeah, as that gap has increased to 2.4 now to MJ Roller. So that's just the DRS and the slipstream playing a factor here. The Woodley goes PT, P2, Kachow up to P1. Watanabe and MJ Roller trying to work their way back into it with Matif and Aiden swapping positions yet again. Trying to catch these 3 and 4. Dale Beveridge and Shifty swapping. And Lamb has now dropped DRS again from Zenitsu.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that damage on that Williams is not really doing him any favors. I mean, the Williams in general, I know we race with equal performance, but we know the Williams drivers have had very on and off seasons at times. They have pace, but sometimes just their luck is just absolutely atrocious. And a lot of times it's been known that it's just stuff outside of their control that they really can't help. I mean, I think it was Bahrain. We're gonna just mention the XD Lamb. He had a weird glitch where he wouldn't let the AI wouldn't let him retake his car, so we had a red flag because the AI decided to park his car in the middle of one of the corners. So I mean, the Williams drivers just don't have the best luck, but they do have the pace. So we'll have to see if XD Lamb can rely on that pace to try to go ahead and get closer to Zenitsu for the last spot in that top 10 bracket.
Yeah, as we see the change of the lead happen again. But they've now cleared out by 3.1 to MJ Roller. So it'd be interesting to see what strategy Kachow will be doing and Woodley will be doing. If they are doing the 2-stop or the 1-stop. So one of them will be on the fast tyre at the end, but the other one will get the undercut. So that will make things interesting. There's still a 4-car battle for P7 and a 3-car battle for P11. And unfortunately, everyone else is just following around for practice as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of well known. Even in the Discord, some of the Div 2 drivers are talking about it. That this track isn't the most exciting when it comes to on-track action. Now you can make some very, very spicy overtakes. You can create some absolutely show-stopping moments, but for the most part, it's just a game of follow the leader, like we were talking about earlier. Just stay within that slipstream of the car ahead and just don't run into that car.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's just the idea here. Especially if you start working together with anyone on the track, it can be a massive advantage, especially down this straight. One of you burn, one of you don't, and then you just let the other one pass, and there you have it. It's easily a 0.3, 0.2 difference every single lap. You just have to pick and choose your battles and when to do it. As we see, Limitless is boxing already off of those mediums, so interesting choice. When we're only on lap 16, so he will be going to a pair of hards.
Ooh, that's a spicy choice. I mean, those could definitely go to the end. I mean,
And that
we
was a
saw
very
like a 40.
long pit stop as well. He was held in there for quite some time, so
Maybe front wing damage had to get fixed, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if those medium tires can go ahead and last about 40 some laps, give or take, I'm sure these hard tires are more than capable of getting to the end, especially because we know that the hard tires are very, very strong in F124. So I think that is probably the undercut of the century here from Limitless Draco. I mean, but here's the thing. You can make the undercut of the century, but is it going to stick? I guess we will find out in about 50 or so laps time.
I don't think it's the correct call though, because the hard tires here are pretty terrible, to be honest. So I think he's actually going to get overcut by a lot of these drivers. So the likes of Winless and XC Lamb, I think you'd expect them to come out well and truly in front of Limitless, especially on those hard tyres. Yes, they might be better toward the end, but I think the softer and the medium compound is where it's at. Let's see, Watanabe's in the box and coming out, so he'll come out well and truly in front of the One Truth. And we'll
Yeah,
see.
he went from soft to another set of soft, so he's definitely going for a two stop, undoubtedly.
Yeah, so
So we'll see what he can do.
yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Um, Watanabe is looking for the undercut, but he's the first one of the two stops to get it. And the One Truth now picks up a 3 second. Yuki Bear is in the pit, swapping off those softs, so I'm assuming he'll be going either to the hards to the end or the mediums. And he should come out just behind Ink, I would say, as he's coming around the final corner now. And he's going on a
Oh yeah,
pair
and
of
then your front wing as well.
mediums and a front wing. He could potentially be lapped here. This would be very, very hurtful for the Haas. He needs to get a wriggle on as he comes out the pits. He will come out in time, but he will start getting blue flags as they're coming to the corner. Very fast right behind him. He's gotten in the way of the
Oh!
leaders. He's taken a front wing as well off of the Kachow. That is the front right
Oh
end
no.
plate off the Red Bull. So that will be definitely looked at the end of this race, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate timing there for the Haas of Yuki Bear. I mean, yeah, he is a lap down now. But yeah, that was just really, really unfortunate. I mean, that's really gonna like run into the hands of Woodley, who severely benefited from that. But yeah, I just can't really see what else he really could have done. I mean, I guess he could have just fired it way off track and just let these two go. But still, very unfortunate situation, especially Kachow making his debut with Rush here, at least as far as I know. I mean, doing pretty good. I mean, he was pretty much swapping back and forth that lead in the Red Bull on debut, which is really dang impressive. But yeah, just to kind of have it curtailed by contact that wasn't your fault. It's just heartbreaking to say the least.
Yeah, so I'll probably expect him to change up his strategy soon. Because, yeah, unfortunately, he's lost that right end plate and he'll be staying behind. And I think Yuki has to stay behind him as he is the lap car, so he'll be trying to get just drafted all the way up. maybe hoping that he catches up to Dragon, which he probably will. But yeah, it's kind of a hard, tough decision there because I think that corner and the leaders were coming up pretty quick right behind. But unfortunately, if you are a lapped car or about to be lapped, you need to probably just give way, unfortunately, because yeah, it can cause incidents, which we have seen. But I'm sure the stewards will rule on it.
Yeah, Plugger, the Division 2 manager, has mentioned in chat that he's going to note the incident. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're obviously going to lose time pulling off to the side of the road and letting the drivers that are the reason why you have a blue flag. I mean, letting them pass is obviously going to make you lose a little bit of time, but you're going to lose more time if you get a penalty from it by getting ignoring a blue flag penalty. So I mean, it's it's just not really worth it. You might as well just let them go and then just make sure there's no incidents.
Let's see, Yuki Berry's trying to unlap himself, which is weird because he's not going to be able to clear out from this lead pack, and he's just going to hold up Kachow here, potentially through the corners, which again could be
Yeah.
penalised as he's just lost Kachow a lot of time. So I'm sure that will probably be looked at again. As we see, MJ Roller is in the pits, and Netsu is in the pits as well. MJ Roller is going to come out in P11 behind Watanabe. Watanabe is going to be clear by about 3 seconds, 3.1.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting because now this is when the different strategies kind of start coming into play. Some drivers aiming for the undercut, others aiming for the overcut. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how the strategies play out, especially with the track being the way it is. And it's looking like I'm even seeing a chat that might even be penalized in game for ignoring blue flags. So we'll have to see if that comes to fruition or not. And if that's the case, then I know in Rush Racing League we do have the
As he's getting
possibility of getting
blue
penalties
flagged, he
overturned.
takes the lead, but will he be fast enough to get away from Woodley? That'll be the question. Because if he's not, he has to hand that back, otherwise he'll start getting penalised, and then DSQ. Yeah,
Indeed, yeah.
unfortunately, it happens, and if you don't get away, and you cause an incident, it's going to be penalised as I don't think he's going to get away from Woodley because he's got both wings. So either expect to see a 10-second coming his way pretty soon if he does not get out the way, because he's getting blue flagged. I think this is the last area that he has to get out. Yep, he gets out the way.
But he's already right back into the slipstream of that Ferrari, so he's trying to push the boundaries of what's legal in terms of the blue flag laws. But I mean, still, it's just really, really unfortunate that he's in this situation to begin with. As we see Kachow in the background, kind of locking up his brakes there, and he might have cooked those tires a little bit. He
Yeah,
hasn't made a pit stop yet. Neither did Woodley.
he'll
So
probably
it's
pit
going to
now.
be,
He'll probably pit now for
yeah,
mediums
probably
and go to the end, fix that wing. But as I said, I'm sure this will be
yep.
heavily
There it
looked
is.
at because if you're a lapped car and you cannot get away and there's multiple incidents and holding up the front leaders, you are in trouble every day of the week. We've seen that happen before. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So we'll go on board with Chow, see if he's replacing that wing as well. So unfortunately for him, it kind of has ruined his strategy potentially because now he's gone to hards. I don't know if that is the correct call. Again, being the probably the hardest tyre to warm up here. And MJ Roller also gets past him, so he's down all the way into P11 and trying to play the catch-up game now to Woodley, who's in P1, and slowly catching up to Dragon in P17. So this is exactly the same as what happened in Division 4. Cars started to get lapped pretty early on, but unfortunately it is a DRS and ERS effective track, and if you have the correct setup on, you are going to be pretty rapid here.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, setup is obviously going to be a big factor for any track that you're going to go ahead and race on. I mean, I know you can be one of the brave souls and try to run the default setups, but trying to use a default setup compared to everybody else who is using a custom-made setup that suits their driving style, it's just you're just going to be at such a disadvantage. And I mean, the right setup can go ahead and put you in places that normally you wouldn't be. I mean, if you're like one of these drivers who normally are at the back, but you get your strat or your setup correct compared to everybody else, then you can move up quite a few positions on setup alone. Not even taking into account just strategy and everything else that comes into one of these full length races.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I'm just curious here, the top 7, if they are going to go all the way to the end, or not to the end, sorry, to about lap 45, as Boltsaru gets a 10-second for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately, that's not able to be removed, so he'll either have to go into a pit stop again, or take the 10-second over the line. But the curious thing is, this top 8, sorry, are 22 lap old mediums. I would be thinking at this time they'll probably be going medium to soft right at the end. So being on those quick tyres right at the end of this race. So lap 42, 43, swapping over, go to softs all the way in, and you still probably would be in front. Watanabe's trying the strategy of the double stop, which Pep and I did. It was working, but unfortunately the Kicksab in front chose exactly the right setup. The right strategy, sorry. As Dragon picks up another 3-second penalty, and he's about to be lapped as well. So he's about to get blue flagged. He's currently probably 1.5 in front of the drivers, 1.4 in front of the leader. So I expect him to just move out the way and probably fall behind Yuki, as Yuki is right behind the Ferrari. As he'll probably, yep, he
Yeah,
moves out the way now. On track, he goes right behind Yuki and falls in. Exactly what a lap car should be doing.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm glad that was. I was actually just going to comment on it before it happened, but I was just going to even mention that hopefully that it wasn't going to be anything that would cause contact like we saw earlier, but Dragon did exactly like you mentioned. He did exactly what he was supposed to. He just got out of the way and said, all right, you guys go through. I'm not risking the pen. So good on Dragon there for getting out of the way for those laps cars. But really, really unfortunate there that he has been lapped here in this race. Lap 25 here at Portimao.
Yeah, I can confirm though. Unfortunately, Dragon forgot to choose the setup, so he's running with the default. I do not know what the default is, but definitely not the setup that you would want here. Believe the
I
default is
think,
lower wings. At least
yeah, I
that's my
think it's
understanding.
like, because I know, because typically, for those who might be new to F1 24, typically the default setups usually go from like highest downforce, high downforce, balanced, low downforce, and then lowest downforce. So you pretty much got like high, medium, and low downforce settings typically in terms of just like the generic setups. I think this track goes for a higher downforce setup, so not the highest, but slightly higher than the balanced. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I have taken a lap around Portimao, but yeah, I think the default is higher downforce.
It'd be interesting to see what Watanabe does here. He's on 8 lap old, so he should get past both XCLM and Winless. I think the tyres will be cooked, but he can go to the end. Because the tyre wear here for softs are between 1.75 and 2% per lap. So he'd be pushing it, yeah, a fair distance, and it probably get punctured right at the end. But we'll wait and see as he makes the first move past Winless of his teammate, and he looks to be trying to go around the outside of XC Lamb, but he pulls it back in. Probably expect him to make the move up the inside,
And he's got it.
and he does. But he's given DRS to XC Lamb, which could be beneficial for Lamb as he'll probably go for another move back on the inside. He certainly does. No, he does not. He pulls back in. Yeah, it's good to see pick and choose the battles. So now Lamb will have DRS to Watanabe with those brand new softs and potentially get pulled into Dale, Beveridge in P6. So I think if you're Lamb and winless, you just let Watanabe work his magic in front, try to keep up with him as much as you can, use the DRS, and hopefully he pulls you along for the ride.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially as Watanabe he's on the faster tire and the fresher tire. So, I mean, for those of you who might not be familiar with how the tire compounds work, the soft tire, or the tire with the red S next to the driver's name, those are the more aggressive type tires, typically used in qualifying, and then some tracks like here today. But they usually have they have the most grip, but the worst tire life. So definitely the full on aggression speed build out of the tires. The mediums is kind of the 50-50, kind of right in between, as we see Windless Bench get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Unfortunate there for the Aston Martin. And then if you see right now, both of the Red Bulls are on the hard tire compound. Those are the tires that have the lowest grip out of the three main slicks, but it's got the best tire life out of the bunch. So that's why we are very certain that those hard tires could probably go to the end. But like you said earlier, Dynasty, those hard tires aren't exactly the best on this track.
No, that's exactly right. Bolt also picks up a 3 second to go with his 10 second of the pit lane. But no, I think it's the incorrect tyre. I believe even if the Woodley and Aiden is Raiden and with box, they'll come out just in front of Kachow, albeit that he had to fix his wing. But they'll be on the much rapider tyre come the end of this race and just be able to pull away from the group. Unfortunately, it's just the way the track is. It's a much cooler track, especially with the rain early. All the mediums and the softs, I assume now would be pushing the one stop. Watanabe, as I said, potentially can do the one stop as well, but those tyres will be absolutely yelling at him at the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Those tires are going to be more cooked than a well done steak if he continues to try to take these to the end. So it's probably going to be a two stop. And it's probably going to be that for a lot of the drivers on the field. I mean, I think the drivers with the hard tires are probably the only ones that could go ahead and make that one stop work. But I mean, even then, just the pace difference that the hards have compared to the mediums is probably well in favor of the medium runners and even the two-stop strategy. So while yeah, you're going to be spending more time in the pits, you're definitely going to make up more of that time on track, which is raw race pace.
Yeah, as you see, MJ Roller makes a move on Willis Benches. Now his next one is XD Lamb, who's currently 2 seconds now away from Watanabe. So unfortunately, he has lost a slipstream. But if MJ Roller is able to take Lamb before the DRS line, which it looks likely, expect him to get the DRS back. But no, he does not. He just waits his turn, gets the DRS, and I'm sure he will be sending the move pretty shortly up this straight. He gets right to the back, pulls out to the right, makes the overtake, going side by side for a bit. They're still going side by side, and he just lets him pass.
Yeah, not much of a fight that he could have put up there. I mean, 28 lap old mediums versus 9 lap old mediums. The 9 lap old mediums are going to win that pretty much all day, every day. So, very good move from MJ Roller. A good amount of discipline, too. Because sometimes with that natural driver instinct, especially those that take the quote of if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're not a racing driver, to a more literal degree than it was probably originally intended, and just show that discipline and kind of just be patient and wait for the good opportunity to actually make that overtake stick without possibly sending both you and the guy you're trying to overtake into the shadow room. I mean, very good discipline there for MJ.
Yeah, exactly. And Dragon did move out the way of the next bunch of people, which is good to see again. So he is obviously a lap car. Got out the way. So it looks like Yuki Bear is making the move now. So will it stick though? It looks like it will, as Woodley's tyres are starting to feel it a little bit more. He needs to get away within by about a second before the next couple corners. If he does not, he'll have to relinquish again, which does hold him up a bit as he's trying to burn everything he's got, but the DRS behind him of Woodley is still catching. He's still right behind him. So he's still getting blue flagged. He needs to create that second gap, that second buffer. Will he be able to do it in time? It's getting very close. He's coming up the hill and he's let him pass again. So he couldn't create that buffer. Slows him down again with the slowdown. So I think I understand he is on the older tyres, but you are probably going to get dragged along by him being the race leader.
Yeah, and I mean, Woodley doesn't. I mean, obviously, Woodley is not going to try to spend too much of that extra tire line fighting a car that's completely on the opposite side of the scoring card compared to him right now. I mean, Yuki Bear he's a left down, obviously. And Yuki himself is just going to be burning those tires up quite a bit. I mean, I know you said the wear is super, super low, about 1.5 per lap on average for those medium tires. But still, I mean, that's on average. If you go more aggressive and become more, risky with these overtakes attempts, then you're going to burn those medium tires out even faster than the 1.5. You might even be encroaching on the soft tire territory of just burning out your tires too quickly. And then you're really going to be a sitting duck, especially if Dragon keeps his pace and just ends up catching up to the Haas ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Dragon will catch the Haas. I think the default setup has killed his race. So probably expect him to go most of the distance, probably about lap 60. I would think that would be probably his day done. He's obviously hoping for a safety car or a late safety car. That way he can overtake the whole field, keep going for one more lap or two more laps, and then pit. So he's right behind the field again. Um, the likes of Dante, he can go to the end on those mediums. So those mediums can push the whole distance. Boltaru will potentially catch him though, but he has a 13-second penalty, so he would have to escape him by about 10 seconds by the end of the race. Yuki Bear is currently 13.3 behind as he tries to make it work again. So we'll see if he does create that gap. He's gone off the track completely, no wing. He lets it up again, and there you have it. He's just dropped 14 seconds now to Boltaru.
Yeah, I mean it's not been a great race here for the Haas and also the Mercedes in P17 and P18. Obviously, some contact in the beginning, and even then earlier on with the contact with Yuki Bear and Kachao, just causing a bit of damage to that Red Bull. Just not been a great race. I mean, we know Yuki Bear and Dragon are both extremely talented drivers. I mean, they wouldn't be in Division 2 if they weren't. I mean, Division 2 is one of the most competitive divisions in Rush, if not the most competitive. So, I mean, they got pace, and we've seen Yuki Bear get podiums before, but it's just not been his race. And I mean, with the season being as long as it is here in Rush, you're inevitably going to have one race that just doesn't seem to work with you super well. And I think today is that race for both Yuki and Dragon. I mean, not having a setup, like you mentioned, just absolutely killed his hopes and dreams of having a decent race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As we see, One Truth coming off of those 30 lap old softs. Sorry. So he is now gone to the medium, so he'll go all the way to the end. But those softs push 30, so there's potential for them to go even further than 30. So Watanabe is still in a decent spot. Yes, his tyres will be screaming, but could potentially take the end. MJ Roller currently has undercut the field. He'll be going to the end, but all of the guys in front of him will be on the quicker tyre. So I'd expect, as it stands, Woodley to probably be our favourite to win this race, especially going to the softs at about lap 41.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the halfway mark of this race. And I mean, MJ Roller's got some really strong pace. The McLaren did just set the fastest lap of the race last lap. Very strong stuff for him. And yeah, it's actually so far one of two or three times, four times. Actually, I'm seeing a few more times than that, but Regardless, it is the fastest lap time of the race with a 1 minute 19.551. A very solid lap there for McLaren on 13 lap old medium tires. So yeah, right now MJ Roller, he's got the pace and he seemingly has the strategy in hand. He just got to keep it clean and keep that pace up, and then he, like you said, he's got a very good chance of winning this race here today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think Woodley will fall between XT Lamb and Watanabe. I believe it's about a 22-second stop, if I'm not mistaken. So by the time it's a long, long pit lane. That is the thing. So I think it is a roughly around a 22 mark. So he should come out just in front of Lamb, if not just behind, maybe Lamb and Winless. But he should be in clean air though. As soon as he makes that move, especially when Lamb and Winless decide to pit, which will probably be the same lap anyway. I would say. I don't realistically. I don't see a safety car coming out as the grid is fairly spread out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we were saying that for Division 4 as well. And then, with less than 10 laps to go, a safety car just kind of shows up. So, I mean, all it just takes is one driver to have a little bit of an incident, and then all of a sudden, bang, safety car shows up and just kind of really changes the whole dynamic of this race.
Yeah, as we got yellows, and that is Dragon. I think he's moving out the way of everyone. Yes, he is. He's just staying out the way, off the track. Good. He comes back on. Well done. Well done. Getting out the way of everyone. Good to see. I see the Shifty, Whiff, and Aiden is heating up. Watanabe calls it down on his soft, so now he's going to the mediums to the end. But was that two stop the right call? I do not think so, as everyone else, it looks like they're going for the one stopper. So he's going to have to make up a lot of positions on those mediums, but also re-catch up that pit stop to the top 7, but I don't think it's going to be possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tall order for Watanabe to go ahead and get that done. I mean, he doesn't really have any cars to really draft. I mean, the closest car would be Draco, but Draco is still like 18 seconds behind this Aston Martin currently on our screens. So, I mean, it'd be really tricky for him to actually get a slipstream going, but I mean, it's possible. I mean, we're seeing the lap times kind of fall quite a bit. So even if Watanabe doesn't make up any positions, he might actually still be able to grab fastest lap, as One Truth actually went ahead and grabbed fastest lap on those 3 lap old medium tires. So I think anything's possible at this point of the race, as we are just over halfway done.
Yeah, I think everyone who's swapping to the soft so will get the fastest lap, especially with the slipstream. At this current stage, if people boxed, he would probably go in front of Lamb, but behind MJ Roller. With he's already 17, no, he's 27 seconds behind MJ Roller. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle at the end. I think the softs though are the compound to be on right at the end. They are the quickest. You can gain the most time. You can get away from the pack. Dragon picks up another 3 second, which is not really going to matter considering he's lapped and in P18.
Yeah, I mean, with the default setup, it's just that Dragon's Race is just really going from bad to worse at the moment. So, I mean, shout out to him for sticking around and not just calling it quits already. But I mean, he's really got to be kicking himself for not having that set up, because we know Dragon can be very rapid on his day.
Yeah, as you see, Dante's in the pits, so he's going to soft. So he'll come out right behind Yuki and the Ferrari. So he'll be quicker, but he'll still have to wait his turn as the other three are catching up. So he'll have to. He does come out before him though, way before, so he will be fine there. So he should catch up to Yuki and Woodley pretty quick. But those tyres will be good to the end. So he's just going to try and see if he can maybe catch up to Bolts and the One Truth as Kachow and Lamb and Zenitsu are swapping positions. So Lamb falling down 2 spots. Winless right behind. Watanabe is catching.
Yes, I mean, it's the comeback drive is happening, but I just wonder if it's going to be enough to go ahead and try to get him back into the main fight for this race. He's in a points paying position as it sits, but he's definitely going to want more, especially just because we know the Aston Martin has been they've been really solid across all the divisions here. But I mean, I know Watanabe is going to really want more from the Aston Martin, but we'll just have to see how much of that more he gets throughout the last few laps or the last half of this race.
Yeah, so Kachow's actually made himself up to, it'll be currently P4 as it stands when everyone does box. As the front two should have the gap to him, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken there actually. Yeah, sorry, no, he is he'll be P3. Sorry, my bad. Because MJ Roller is on a newer set of mediums, so he's going to the end. So he hasn't lost that much, but unfortunately, I think that wing damage has cost him a lot, really. Um, it could have been a potential race win, in my opinion. Him and Woodley were battling out quite hard, so yeah, it's honestly it's a mistake by the obviously the lap driver, but yeah, unfortunately it has changed the result of the race dramatically.
Yeah, Kachow and Woodley, and also Windows Bench. There are three drivers, and I actually in it too as well. There are four drivers that we've never really seen much of in Rush or even anything at all. So these four drivers just kind of coming here tonight and showcasing their skills and even possibly getting a race win is really impressive for rookie drivers, especially with Div 2 being as wildly competitive as it is. But to have that potential just ripped away by something that's kind of out of your control and a mistake that you didn't make is just heartbreaking for the Red Bull in particular.
Yeah, as we see MJ Roller going side by side with Hato. He gets the move done just before the corner. Hato's still missing that left end plate, so he may fix that when he comes into box. But if he's able to handle the car, he probably will leave it as it is. Dale Beveridge is right behind Hato though, so within the next two laps, I would say everyone will be coming into box as we see Winless Bench coming off those 38 lap old mediums to go on those softs. So he'll try to undercut on Zenitsu, XT Lamb, and potentially try and catch Kachow here. As Draco is coming up the pit straight, so he gets the move done on Winless Bench. Dragon is also in the box again, so it looks like he's going to a new pair of mediums. He'll come out in front of the Kick Sauber. He'll probably move over out the way of the Kick Sauber. He does move out the way, lets him pass again, and the One Truth picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing quite a few penalties kind of come across our screen. I mean, Portimao, it's really an easy track to get penalties on just because it's some of the corners are deceptively tricky, and you could just take a corner that you think, oh, you know what, this might be a good medium speed corner, even a high speed corner.
Hato
Nope,
is pitting.
it's a low speed.
Hato is pitting. Is he fixing that wing? I don't think he should. If he's able to control that car, I think he just holds it out to the end. Because if you fix that wing, you're going to be even further behind, which you do not want to be. Do they have a wing ready? Yes, they do. So he is fixing
Nope.
it.
Oh, yep.
They do. They do. He's fixing it. So he'll lose out to Watanabe, but that will be that final position he'll lose. So he'll now have to try and catch up to Watanabe, which is no easy
Yeah, I
feat,
mean,
unfortunately. Which is an 8-second
yeah,
gap, 9-second gap.
yeah. I mean, Watanabe, we know he's a rapid driver, and he didn't have damage on his car like Hato did, but I mean, Hato's got pace too. We can't forget that. So maybe Hato on this soft set of tires, and you were saying that closer towards the end of this race, the soft tires are going to be they're going to be the best tire to kind of go on at the moment. So maybe this might work out in his favor. He might be able to squeak in a top 10, but yeah, I think if he wanted a race win, I just don't know if that would have been possible with the front wing damage.
Yeah, it's Dale Beveridge is now in the box. As we saw, both both drivers did get past the leader. Dante on the softs looks to make the move on Yuki Bear. He gets past Yuki Bear, gets it done. Limitless has left session, so I'll get you to send an invite to
I'll take care of that.
Limitless. As we see, how long will they get blue flagged for?
Yeah, I went ahead and sent Limitless an invite, and actually, I'm just gonna go through chat real quick. Seeing some support for Shifty here, and also a good morning from Rose, and also Oliver James, and also the Rush Racing League admin, aka the Governor. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day today. And also, Oliver, I see that you have a league race at some point this morning. I wish you the best of luck and keep us posted. Maybe tune in next time to let us know how you did, mate. And yeah, good luck on your race today.
Yeah, as Dante has actually flexed away from Yuki Bear with those softs, so he's trying to absolutely reel in Boltaru just for that last point position and with the fastest lap, but I would expect one of the drivers with the slipstream to probably get that done with the fastest lap. But as it stands, Watanabe is actually undercutting the field here, so yes, he's not on the quickest tyre, but if he's able to hold that car together, he might be looking at a podium here. As the likes of, I think Aiden is riding with and Shifty. If Shifty has to serve that 10-second, I'm not sure. NXE Lamb will drop down below Haydo and just in front of Winless. As Haydo picks up the fastest lap now.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get Limitless Draco another invite. Actually, he's not even appearing online, so maybe he had a Wi-Fi crash entirely. I'll still send him an offline invite, but hopefully we can get the Red Bull back in as soon as humanly possible. It's unfortunate when you're going through a league race and then you just run into a disconnect. Hopefully we can get it back sooner than later because we know the AI cars in this game.
I think it will box his
It's
car if he
allowed
doesn't get in
getting
though.
for.
I
Yeah, I
think the
mean,
AI will box if he doesn't get in the race. Unfortunately, it's just one of the things that this game decides to do.
yeah, I mean, AI stands for artificial intelligence, and this game isn't exactly intelligent. They kind of missed that intelligent memo. So yeah, I mean, it's if he can't get back in sooner rather than later, then yeah, his races may as well just be done and dusted.
Yeah, I just quickly checked in to see if he's online on my friends list. Unfortunately, he's not, so I can't really be scrolling through the whole list as I have about 200 people on there. But yeah, as it stands, these drivers are still staying out, so they surely would have to box soon. They're probably hoping there's a late safety car. Maybe they're trying to go push it as far as they can. But Kachau will be the leader of this race as he has undercut the field, but those soft tyres will be absolutely blistering. Sorry, no, not Kachau. It'll be NJ Roller. Will be the driver to beat on track with those 23 lap old mediums, which will be 46 by the end. So pretty much the same stint as these guys have gone. But expect the soft tyres to absolutely tear the time boards apart in the later end.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially because I mean, like the soft tire is the best tire on this track, and also it's really the quality tire, and obviously the goal of qualifying is to set those fastest laps. So yeah, it's gonna be we're gonna see those times trickle down as we see Hato on the 3 lap old soft tires actually has the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1 minute 18.285. So pretty solid lap time from him. There's a few other times in that 118 range. I am currently seeing 3 other times in that 118 range. But yeah, I think we might get into the 117s, especially because of the combination of the fresh soft tires and also the less fuel in the car, making the cars overall just lighter. So we're gonna really see those lap times fall, especially towards the closing stages of this race, as we are coming up to the final 22 laps of this race.
I think we're going to see as well Dante and Boltaru will catch Limitless if he cannot get back in that car as his time is just dropping every single corner. It is getting longer and longer and longer. 8.5 now behind 8.6. So unfortunately, the battery usage by the AI is not good enough. As we see, Woodley's in a box, Shifty's in a box. Now I want to see if it will make him serve that 10-second, because I think he could potentially get that removed. I just hope it doesn't serve it. If it serves it, he will be well and truly down the grid. It will serve it. So unfortunately, Shifty's race was going really good, but now he'll be behind the Haas of Hado, potentially. No, he will just be behind Hado. So not so much time lost, but enough to affect the race.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Lamb. I mean, or Shifty. Sorry, it's really unfortunate. Once again, it goes back to the Williams just having some of the most atrocious luck known to mankind. So it's just really unfortunate there for the squad. Hopefully they can still salvage some things out of it. Still double points finish, but as it sits right now, but I
Lamb
mean,
has left,
they would have
so
wanted more.
we'll need to get Lamb back in. Unfortunately, his game does play up when someone else DCs. Unfortunately, he does follow suit a couple laps later.
All right, I'll go ahead and try to get him invited.
Yep. So if we see another DC, it may be another situation, unfortunately. But we see With Matif is in, so he's now trying the undercut on Aiden is Raiden. Aiden is Raiden is just going a little bit longer. MJ Roller is following close behind, so he'll be our effective leader because Aiden is Raiden has the box. Kachow 9.2 behind, but he's got Zenitsu right behind him on mediums. And you got Woodley closing the gap. With Matif is coming out the box, but he'll be behind Watanabe and Dale, but on those fresher softs, so expect him to be absolutely pushing the limit. XD Lamb has now boxed. Hope it puts him on the softs. Otherwise, his car will have to box again. It does put him on the softs. Good to see. He will come out in front of Boltaru, but unfortunately behind the One Truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate that we have seen the AI kind of have to take over for a few cars now. We've seen it having to take over for at least 2 cars right now, and hopefully it's only 2. Lamb is back, so Lamb has been able to rejoin the session. Hopefully it will let him retake his car, because that way he can really get back to the pace that we know XD Lamb has in that Williams.
Aiden is now in
So
the
we'll
box as
see.
well. MJ Roller takes the lead of this race. Now is the question, who will catch MJ Roller? They have 19 laps to do so. MJ Roller is our effective leader. Kachow in P2, Zenitsu P3. He takes P2 off of Kachow though, so those mediums are still good. But Woodley is closing in. He's now 2.2 away, so expect to see him close that gap to these guys, and then especially to the leader. Aiden is rating goes on the sauce right behind Hado in P8. So Hado's made a good undercut here, but 7 lap old compared to very fresh. I think Aiden is going to make pretty light work of Hado toward the end of this race, especially being on those fresh tyres. XC Lamb pits again. Oh no, it's done the same glitch. I have no idea what is happening. It just said he was in the box again, and it
Yeah,
slowed his car
but
down.
okay, yep. So in chat he was mentioning that he doesn't have control of his vehicle. The AI just said nope. It's Mom said it's my turn on the Williams. So get him another invite. We'll try to get him back in. Um, but yeah, really, really unfortunate there for XD Lamb.
Yeah, and Woodley, there you go. There's the fastest lap, and I'd say he's probably going to hold that fastest lap. Dale, oh, never mind. Dale Beveridge eclipses that lap. It goes faster with 1:17.9. I'm just staying on
Famous last
board with
words.
Lamb just to make sure it doesn't glitch out this lobby. Because unfortunately, I believe his car was stuck on track last week in the middle of turn 2. So
No, that was Bahrain. I think that was 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it didn't happen. It was honestly pretty scary to watch. I mean, it it was a ghosted car, just pretty much stopped dead right when around sector 2 starts becoming sector 3, or like right at the beginning of sector 3. So there was just a random ghosted Williams just parked there. You know, when these drivers are going at about 150 to about 200 miles an hour, and they see a car just kind of in the middle of the road, yeah, they're probably gonna have a mini heart attack. So we had to red flag in that session, but we did have red flags at Belgium as well for other EA server shenanigans, as we should just call them.
Yeah, I'll get you to send another invite to Lamb, see if he can get back in. As we see, this gap
All right.
is starting to close. 7.7 it is to MJ Roller. Can MJ Roller hang on? Dante picks up another 3 seconds. So we'll go to penalties. You've got Winless on 3. You've got the One Truth on 6. Boltsaru on 13. Dante on 6. Yuki Bear on 3. And Dragon with 9.
Interesting stuff here as we come to the latter stages of the race. I did go ahead and get XD Lamb invited again. Hopefully, he'll be able to join
Yep.
and
Could
retake control
you
of his car.
resend one to Limitless if you can find him on your friends list, please? The One Truth picks up
Yep.
another 3 seconds, so that is a 9 seconds worth of penalty for him. But he will not be losing any spots because the guy behind him has 13 seconds of penalties, and he is 13 seconds behind. But the question is, will Woodley catch MJ Roller? He's currently catching him at about 0.3 to 0.4 a lap. It was at about a second a lap the first two. So can he keep closing that gap, keep reeling him in? I think if he can get to within his DRS, he will be able to get that move done. The question is there enough laps to do so?
Yeah,
Kachao
that is a very good question indeed.
as it stands is in P3, but Zenitsu, the Ferrari right behind him, is in P4 and closing in. Watanabe and with Matif swapping positions again. Dragon picks up another 3 second with that default setup on, so his day is pretty well done and dusted. I would say he's probably going to retire soon, as this has been a very clean and tidy race after lap 1. But it
Yeah,
is to be
so
expected being a wide track.
mathematically, it could be possible. It's gonna be tight, but it very well could be possible. So if he continues at 0.3 seconds a lap, he will gain over the remaining 17 laps. It will be 5.1 seconds, which is a bit lower than what Woodley has to MJ Roller. But if the time kind of trickles down a bit, where the time gap increases, it's going to be dicey. But Woodley could still possibly win this race here today.
Yeah, so I'm just staying on board with Lamb for a second again. He has just joined back, so I'll see if he's taking control. That battery's hovering around 100, so we'll see if he starts burning it. The AI does burning out of corners a little bit, but they normally stay around about the 100 mark. But I think he's going to find that he won't be able to take control of the vehicle due to the game being terrible as it is, unfortunately. So hopefully for
Hopefully,
his
we'll
sake,
get a
he can
fix.
get in.
And then hopefully, this will not be an issue coming to F125, which should probably come around. I'm just gonna throw a random guess. It's probably gonna be around May or June of this year. That's typical when they release these games, but we'll just have to see.
The gap now is 4.3 to the leader. So he is crawled it in by 2 seconds. But
All right.
even if he does get caught, P2 is still not that bad. I think you just hold on behind, and Lamb's car has pit. Now this is where we found the problem in Bahrain. I hope it does not do what it has
He
done
says he's
multiple
got
times.
control of the car. It's going to give him control of the car right after he pits in, at least according to Twitch chat. So maybe we won't have a Bahrain incident again. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Normally it's like the first, second, or third. Zenetsu's now in the box. That's a really interesting one. 31 laps mediums. He could have went to the end. His car does not stop on track. It's good to see. But Don't know if he's in that car now. He might be in the car. Yeah, he's in the
Possibly.
car. He's in the car. It went to none. The AI doesn't go to none, so he is back in that car. He's down to 73% battery, so hopefully Lamb can make it back to points. Winless picks up another 3-second penalty. So the points paying position is in P15. Limitless unfortunately hasn't been able to get back in that car. Yuki Bear has the penalty in front, so with those new softs, I'd probably expect him to catch Limitless. Dante, 6, probably not, but you never know. It's a weird world.
Indeed. And yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, Woodley is catching Rolla quite substantially. I think he knocked off another additional
Yep.
second at least
And I
from his time last lap.
think that is... I don't know if that is Lamb in front of him. It is too. So he's about to get lapped. But if he hangs on to the back of these guys, which is really good, he will get dragged along really quickly to those other cars in front, which is probably beneficial for him. So I would suggest for him just stay behind Woodley, let him cart you along, and you might be all good. As that gap is about to be 1 second flat.
Oh,
And there you
it's
have it.
not even that point.
It is, yep, he's caught him. Probably expect the move to come pretty soon. As there's yellows, that is Dante, maybe? No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, it's Dante.
No, it was Ink. Dragon, sorry. Dragon had a moment because it was yellows in that sector before. Yep, he's pitting. I'd probably expect a retirement. I would think. Potentially, but
We will see.
I don't like the retirement in pits due to the game being the problem where it does bring your car back out onto track even though you pit and you quit per se.
All right, so
But
um,
coming up the straight, oh, there's a bit of a late move, but Woodley gets it done, gets past, gets into P1, and he may be able to sail off in the sunset unless MJ Roller has enough tyre wear in those tyres to fight back. Compared to 9-lap-old softs, though, I don't think so. I believe they are about to lap Dragon again, so Dragon is probably going to move out the way. Yep, he moves over to the left. He stays left, keeps left, lets everyone pass, comes back in. Perfect.
yeah, so actually something interesting worth noting is that Woodley is burning so much ERS. He's only got 13% battery compared to MJ Rolla, who's got 68. So I mean, it's
He's
if
escaped
Woodley
the
burns
DRS,
that
though.
battery too much,
He's escaped the
then
DRS and he's got a Haas in front of him of Yuki Bear, who's a lapped car. That will give him DRS as well, which he's almost caught the back of it, and he's got the AI of Limitless. So there will be 2 DRS points there with both of them in front, as the AI is really slow. Yuki Bear is absolutely trying to push that car around, but they have a lapped car coming, so they both have to move across. So hopefully they... Yep. So one moves across. Unfortunately, the AI won't really move across for you. But Woodley gets past both of them, and without any battery, he should be able to sail away from everyone else. Yuki Bear boxes off of those mediums, probably going to softs. Trying to set the fast lap, maybe hope for a couple of DNFs. I'm just going to check something though. I don't know if there's any carryover pens for this race, so bear with me and I'll have a quick look at that.
all right. So taking a look now at this Ferrari in first place, he's doing pretty much exactly what he needs to here at the moment. So I mean, he's extending that gap to MJ Rolla. I mean, I know Rolla is kind of behind some of the AI and other laps cars, but I think Woodley on debut might actually have this race in the bag, so that'll be very interesting to see. As Zenitsu, the other Ferrari, gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits. Very unfortunate there. See how many penalties he actually has. That's his first penalty of 3 seconds. And so the other penalties are the one truth has 9 seconds. Winless Bench has 6 seconds. Bolts has 13. Dante has 6. Yuki has 3. And Dragon has 12. So those are the penalties, but we'll see if Dynasty can go ahead and bring up some carryover penalties from earlier on in the season.
There is none, but I have found something very interesting. I don't think there's meant to be two kick Saubers on the grid tonight, as unfortunately one of the full-time drivers who has lost his seat due to pens is also meant to have a race ban. So that's none of the drivers that are on the grid at the moment, but I believe that's meant to affect the seat, not the driver per se, because he was still a full-time. So that will be a topic of discussion after the race, though. So we'll continue on. But that is the only penalty that is meant to be. As the One Truth picks up another 3 second, the Red Bull gets out the way of the McLaren of Limitless. Dale Beveridge has got Kachar right on the back of him on those 34 lap old hards compared to 15 lap old softs. So that'll be a interesting battle at the end.
Indeed, yeah, it's gonna be, and actually, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see if how this battle goes out. I mean, you were saying that the hard tires were not the ideal tire, but maybe Kachao could make it work. He's showing them the lightning that his namesake follows, and he's gonna go ahead and get the move done onto Dale on those older hard tires, and maybe the hard tire isn't so bad after all, at least in the scope of this
I,
race.
I think maybe after a certain time. So being that he's done the one stop, I believe it could work. It doesn't work early, I know that. But if if you push on, yeah, if Kachao is quick though, but they do hurt you early. So if cars don't battle and they slipstream away, you'd probably expect to be out of a pit stop basically by the time they are ready to pit. But he is definitely making it work as he's currently got the Williams. I believe that's XC Lamb again. That they are lapping. It is two. So unfortunately he's getting lapped left, right, and center. So his time is now dropping to Dante. But he did get into the points again. So that is also good to see. But
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
very solid recovery drive there for Lamb, despite all the tech shenanigans he's had to deal with tonight.
yep, and Dragon is just pitting. I think it's just more to get out the way of the drivers in front so he doesn't cause any incidents. As we see, Aiden is Raiden with Matif battling for that P4, P5 and 6 position. Dale Beveridge and Chow have swapped positions again, but the more they keep swapping, they're dragging with Matif, Aiden is Raiden and Hato. Can we maybe see a last 3 lap battle between 5 of them? Of Dale Beveridge down to Hato, and don't forget, sorry, not Hato. Sorry, with Matif, Aiden is Raiden, Kachow, and Dale Beveridge, as Hato is actually 6 seconds away from the pack, with Shifty Wizard close behind.
Yeah, so I mean, this could really boil down here to the last few laps of this race. Especially if these soft runners keep setting consistently quick lap times here, they could really catch up, and it could be a massive DRS train and a battle for the final podium spot here. But can we talk about Woodley for a second? This Ferrari has decided that, you know what, I don't want to fight with anyone anymore, and just sauntered off into the distance, and that is really impressive for a first timer.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely very good. He's 6.7. He's got the strategy down pat. It's exactly what the Div 4 driver in the Kick Sauber did. Trying to think of the name.
It was Cooper something, wasn't it?
Cooper the bot. It definitely was. He went mediums to softs right at the end. Perfect strategy call. Couldn't fault it. He was slower at the beginning, but obviously those tyres at the end just absolutely blew us away. So correct decision, and yeah, as you can see, it's the tyre difference here. Being a much cooler track is definitely massive. As this pack is closing in, with Matif is almost at the DRS point. He is at the DRS point. He needs to hold it within the second when it comes to this next zone, and he can pull in Aiden's reign as well, and we're going to have a 4-car battle for the last podium position.
Yeah, the fight is definitely on here, especially now as we're coming down to the final 7 laps of
And
this race here in Portimao. So I think it actually is around the time, maybe in a few laps or so, but we should really start discussing our driver of the day for this race.
yeah, I completely agree with that. It's going to be very interesting. Hasn't been really much movement as you'd normally see. You'd see biggest, obviously, fallers in the grid, unfortunately being the likes of Dragon, Watanabe, the One Truth, and Lamb. But then you've only had a couple gainers, so MJ Roll up 3, Beveridge up 4, with Matif up 5, Shifty and Hado up 5. I think it's been a really good but quiet race by Shifty, and if he manages to pull off this pull off a podium here, it'd be a very good win for the Kick Sauber.
Indeed. Yeah, so I'm actually going to go ahead and also ask the chat, who do you think should be crowned as driver of the day today? Leave your suggestions in chat.
And
Um,
just quickly, the interesting thing, Boltaru has pitted and he has to serve that 10-second. I don't think that is the right call. Because you now get
yeah, I
lapped
mean,
by a lapped car. You can't really set a fast lap, especially if there's a battle going on, which he will come out behind this huge battle. So I think that's the wrong call here. He's just lost out points to Dante as well in P13. Kachau gets taken by Dale Beveridge. With Matif stays in the same spot. But I don't think you can... You're not going to be able to set the fastest lap, especially behind this pack, unless you just sit well and truly behind him and try and just coast behind him, try and get the slipstream and see how you go. But yeah, I don't think that's the correct call there.
yeah. So, very interesting. We've seen some interesting calls here from a lot of the drivers here today. I mean, it's a long race, so especially depending on like what time zone you're currently in. I mean, I'm sure it's getting pretty late for a few of these drivers. Even if we start at 7:30 Australian time, it's been about. It's probably getting closer to about 9:30 or 9 to 9:30 ish. So it's probably pretty late, especially if you're unfortunately skipped out on dinner. But yeah, so I mean, I'm sure these drivers are tired. They're ready for this race to be done and dusted. But yeah, I mean, overall, a pretty solid race. I mean, pretty clean aside from the incident in turn 1 and then also the incident with the lapped car. But I mean, I think for driver of the day, that's going to be tricky because I mean, I can think of a few candidates. Hato was involved in that turn 1 incident, turn 1 lap 1 incident. He's up 5 positions from where he even started qualifying, so he made a pretty solid recovery drive. Same with Shifty Wizza. Um, Woodley winning on debut is also pretty impressive. And I mean, obviously, the McLarens have had a very clean race, so I mean, the door for driver today is wide open here, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I'm going to stay on board with this battle because this battle is really heating up in P3, 4, 5, and 6. Unfortunately, yeah. The likes of MJ Roll and Woody have run away, but I think MJ Roller might be backing up here to help out Dale, potentially. Or his tyres are just starting to fall off a cliff. Um, 42 lap old, yeah, they're probably at the point of no return. But this is just going to bring the whole pack in, and Whiff looks like he's going to send it on Kachau. No, he will not. He'll pull out of it. Kachau looking like he'll send up turn 1. No, he will not. He'll pull out of it as well. But they are definitely pulling in MJ Roller. If MJ Roller is backing up, I would think that's not the right strategy here. Because, yeah, as soon as the pack does back into each other, it can cause 1, incidents, but 2, could lose a double podium, potentially.
Yeah, possibly, and that'd be. I mean, the double podium would be an excellent result for McLaren, both in Division 2 and the overalls. So it would be really good for the McLarens if they could hold on to this double podium, but that's way easier said than done, especially when Kachow has just been right on the pace on those hard compound tires. So be very it'll be a very entertaining battle to watch as we go through the final 4 laps, soon to be 3 laps of this race.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Can Dale Beveridge hold on for this P3? He's burning everything come the back end. Chow has 30%, Withmateef has 50%, but he's slowly losing the grip of Kachow and Dale. They have 3 laps remaining to get the move done. Kachow gets it done. Can he now catch up to MJ Roller? He's 1.1 away. If he can pull him in, that would be effective with the tyres. To have that extra DRS, the extra speed coming down the straight. He does not get it here, but he'll use his battery to stay in front of Dale Beveridge. But this hands it to Withmateef and Aiden is running close behind. If they're able to save their battery enough coming into the last corner, can they maybe take the win? Take the podium.
Yeah, I mean, everything's possible. They can basically just say goodbye to tire management because you got about 2.5 laps left. It is going to be pedal to the metal. It's going to be full tilt, full speed, full aggression. And these drivers, they're going to give it their all, especially to try to get that last podium spot off of Kachow.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting as Kachow has caught the DRS of MJ Roller. So is this the tyres wearing off, or is he actually trying to help out his teammate here? This is going to be coming right down the wire. Withmateef is right on the back of Dale, so he'll be looking to get the move done. He does get the move done in front of Dale. Dale falls in behind, and he's got Aiden Raiden following close behind with the other Kick Sauber who cannot overtake. He is a lapped car. He cannot get involved in this battle. He has to stay behind, otherwise it will be looked at. Fortunately, you cannot overtake, especially if there's a battle on track.
A little bit late on the brakes there for Kachow there, but I mean, he's still keeping it really close to MJ Rolla, and I think if he does get this move on MJ Rolla, I know Blugger in chat actually cast his vote in for Kachow. I mean, he does bring up some solid points. He was battling for a potential win until he was the victim of the blue flag incident. So I mean, and he's clawing his way back up to a P3, possibly even a P2 finish here on debut, nevertheless. So it's very, very interesting to see
Oh, MJ
if
Roller
he
has
can
a
get the move
moment,
done.
but
He
he
was
falls
looking
back
for it.
in. He's got a lot of battery to play with. They all have a lot of battery to play with. But the DRS is very, very powerful here. Kachow going for the
Oh yeah.
move up the inside. He gets it done. This is the final lap. Woodley's just off and gone to the races. He's 3.1 seconds in front, so we'll stay the battle with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Aiden is ready to get the move done. He looks to get the move
Oh,
done
there's
on
a
the
bit of
Kick
a
Sauber.
spin, possibly. Yeah, a little bit of wiggle there for Dale. He drops a few positions, and Raiden's actually up in a P4 now. Under
Yeah,
attack from Withmateef.
but he's burnt pretty much all of that battery, so it's going to be interesting who has the most battery come the end. It looks like MJ Roller will hold his battery here. That is the smartest strategy. You'd want the most battery heading down this straight, but you also do not want to be too far behind the lead car, because that pull is really, really effective. As Kachow looks like he's waiting for no one. His fuel light is flashing. Aiden's on 17%, MJ Roll on 60. Expect MJ Roll to hold a position unless Withmateef has anything to say about it, but he's also on 30% battery, so I think our top 3 will be Woodley, Kachow, MJ Roller. As we come down the final bit, MJ Roller is burning everything. Aiden has nothing left to burn. His battery's done. That is it. Kachow second, MJ Roller P3, Aiden's running P4, Withmateef P5, Dabedry P6, Shifty Wizard P7. Someone is out of fuel there. Hato in P8, Watanabe P9. Watanabe's out of fuel. Can the Ferrari pip him on the line? But it won't matter. He's got pens anyway. But he will be in P9 after penalties. The One Truth coming home, flashing red in P11.
Wow.
Winless bench in P12. Dante finishing in P13 when he does come around, but the gaps are very, very big to everyone else. And good thing to see, obviously, Lamb still finishing off the race, Dragon still finishing off the race, and Limitless, unfortunately, with his AI not playing the game right. But yeah, I think Kachow gets drive of the day. I think that's a
Yeah,
hands down
I can wholeheartedly agree.
drive, breaking the wing, coming back from the absolute clouds to take P2. Well-deserved P2. I think everyone would agree here that hands down that is a drive and a half from the Red Bull.
100%. I mean, everything that you just talked about, and also Plugger mentioned it earlier. I mean, that is an excellent, excellent drive there. I mean, 2 rookies on the podium, a 1-2 for reserve drivers. That is excellent for both. I am not discrediting anything Woodley has done here today, but especially considering what the Red Bull had to deal with, I think it's clear that he gets driver of the day today.
Yeah, 100%. It's good race by all. Woodley, that was an excellent race by him. Well-deserved P1. And Kachow, well-deserved P2. And MJ Roll, brilliant effort to hold up in P3. And obviously with likes of Aiden Raiden, Whiffman, and Dale Beveridge fighting for that last podium position. But I'll make sure I do get these standings, which that is all she wrote. So everyone was 1 lap behind, and Dante about nearly a minute behind. There you have it. That was our race. So Woodley P1, Kachow P2, and MJ Roller P3, with Zenetsu rounding out the top 10. Now we'll try to get these guys in for a chat. Hopefully.
Yeah, currently just trying to make sure I get everyone's discords.
So I'll just try getting these guys in. Oh my thing. I'm just hoping I'll tag him on my phone. See if these guys can join in. But overall, that was a pretty good race. Clean after turn 1. Unfortunately, before turn 1, I can't really say it was. I'm just tagging the drivers now. That's not even his name on Discord. If you can hear me, if you can tag these drivers as well. I'm just trying to find. All right, he's not even coming up. The leader. We'll get Kachow in, and we'll get MJ Roller in.
All right, well, we got Rolla in. We'll
All right,
just try
so
to see if we can get the other 2.
we'll start with Roller anyway. He was P3, so I'll let you take it away, Rekus.
All right, so Rolla, congratulations on P3 here in Portimao. Overall, how did you feel about the race?
I wasn't looking forward to it going in. It's not one of my favorite tracks. Obviously, it's so slippery. But I was pretty happy with the way it all panned out in the end.
Awesome, awesome. So, can you kind of walk us through your little last few laps battling it out with Kachow? How did that go? Or what was your kind of thought process during that whole episode?
I thought I was done. I definitely thought I was going to get swallowed up by them all. Probably the teammate Bevs came in good there. There was a bit of battling going on, which sort of held them up a little bit longer. But I wasn't intending to take the mediums 47, but I don't know, they were feeling all right, and I thought those the other guys did it on the one stop, so I thought, YOLO, I'll get it done.
Well, I mean, hey, that YOLO mentality kind of got you into a P3 position, a really good position for McLaren. So, how are you feeling going into Zandvoort next week?
Yeah, I like the track, so it should be good. I'll get some laps in during the week, hopefully, and yeah, hopefully another interview at the end of next week.
All right, I'll hold you to it. All right, I will pass you over to Dynasty if he's got any questions or comments.
That's good.
Well done, mate. Congratulations on your P3. What was the strategy heading in? Was it always to stop early and go all the way to the end, or to stop a bit later and see if you can undercut everyone? Or walk us through it, because it was obviously raining in the qualifying. So how did that go as well?
Yeah, that was sketchy as I thought I was just pottering around, but I think a few people invalidated, and I was like 14th after the first sector, but yeah, managed to squeeze into top 5, I think. But yeah, no, definitely didn't intend on doing a one stop in the race. I was going to go soft, medium, soft, but I stayed on the softs for a little longer. I think I pitted lap 20, and yeah, I thought I'll try and give the mediums a crack all the way through, and I think it just paid off.
Yeah, no, brilliant effort by you as well. Really good performance by the McLarens. Obviously, your teammate, I think he finished in P6 in the end, or P5, if I'm not mistaken, but still really good points. Yep. And really good and clean battles. Was you involved in that incident turn 2, or was it just behind you, sort of thing?
On lap 1?
Yes.
Oh, I got pushed a little bit, but there was there was a lot going on behind, so I wouldn't really count it as I was involved. But yeah, it'd be interesting to watch back on the stream.
Yeah, it was unfortunately Haas has been spun, but I believe it was further back. But that's good. But obviously next week, I can't remember the track we're heading to. Just bear with me.
Zandvoort.
I think we are definitely going to Zandvoort. How is your pace there? Are you looking to go back-to-back podiums, or what's the what you're driving like there?
That's the plan. Yeah, I don't mind the track. So yeah, I think I just had an enduro race there in another league last week and took the win. So I like the long races, to be honest. But yeah, I'll give it a red hot crack next week, and hopefully I'll be in the interview box again.
Yeah, no, brilliant effort by you boys. And yeah, really clean racing, and it was good to see the battle all the way to the end. So well done on your P3, mate, and congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for your services again.
Thank you, mate. Rekus, I don't think we're going to get anyone else. Unfortunately, Woodley's not joining the comms box, and unfortunately, Chow can't, and I don't think the TP is either. So that would probably be it by us. It's been a long race, but a little bit more exciting in the comms box than probably what Div 4 was. There was a lot of good car battles on track, a lot of stuff we do not want to see, but I'm sure that will be in the reports. But other than that, it's been a pleasure, mate.
As always, yeah, it's always a pleasure to come over here and commentate at the crack of dawn here in the United States. But commentating for Rush, it always provides extremely good racing. And yeah, can't wait for next week. The last thing I do want to say, I do want to shout out, just a quick little shout out to our sponsors, primarily AI369. Go ahead and sign up for their newsletter on their website, providing some really awesome services coming soon. And also, all of our other sponsors are linked in this or Twitch chat, so go ahead and check them out. And yeah, bring on Zandvoort next week.
Yeah, special thanks to our sponsors as well. Yeah, especially AI369. But yeah, that's all she wrote for this week, guys, for Div 2. But it was a lot cleaner this week, which is really good to see, because the last week was, in my opinion, probably the worst one I've ever seen. But really good. Other than that, I was your host, Dynasty Sparrow, and I was with the man on my left in Rekus. And as I like to say, ciao.